The tension in the CNN debate studio was electric, the atmosphere so thick with anticipation it was nearly suffocating. Two political heavyweights, Karoline Leavitt and Kash Patel, sat facing one another beneath searing lights, each representing divergent paths for America's future. No one expected the night's events to veer off the edge of civility and into controversy that would shake the nation. But within minutes, Leavitt would deliver a line so provocative, it would reverberate far beyond the studio walls. It was a political confrontation that quickly transformed into a defining moment in the country's ongoing debate about identity. Karoline Leavitt leaned forward with a sharpness in her voice that signaled something more personal than policy. "Maybe it's time you stopped pretending to understand American values and went back to India," she said coldly. The words struck like a lightning bolt. Gasps echoed across the studio, and Anderson Cooper's stunned expression mirrored the horror shared by viewers nationwide. Social media lit up instantly, clips circulating with captions labeling it the most racist moment on live TV. But what came next, Patel's response, would not only dismantle Leavitt's credibility but also deliver a history lesson that silenced her forever. Born and raised in New Hampshire, Leavitt's political climb had been meteoric. At just 24, she served as the youngest White House press secretary in history, earning praise from Trump loyalists for her aggressive stance against liberal media. She embraced her role as the future of America First conservatism. Her working-class Catholic roots gave her authenticity, while her youthful charisma turned her into a conservative icon. But her style was combative, and critics often labeled her a firebrand more focused on sound bites than substance. Nonetheless, she carried massive support from Trump's base and was seen as a new torchbearer of hardline patriotism. Kash Patel's journey couldn't have been more different. The son of Indian immigrants who arrived in the 1970s, Patel's childhood in New York was steeped in humility and grit. He watched his father work multiple low-wage jobs to build a better future. Driven by those values, Patel earned a law degree, pursued justice as a federal prosecutor, and later became a trusted national security advisor in the Trump administration. He handled classified missions, risked his life undercover, and stood against terrorism, all in service to the country he called home. His record was impeccable, but his heritage remained a political target. The CNN debate wasn't just a media event, it was a cultural flashpoint. The nation had been grappling with questions of who belongs in America and what defines patriotism. Leavitt symbolized those clinging to traditionalist ideas of national identity. Her supporters believed America's culture was being diluted. Patel stood for a more inclusive interpretation, one rooted in service rather than lineage. Their confrontation became more than just two politicians sparring, it was a test of America's soul. When Leavitt crossed the line with a remark, it wasn't just Patel she targeted, it was every immigrant who ever dared to believe in the American dream. For the first half of the debate, the exchange remained civil, focused on border security and national defense. Leavitt strongly supported strict immigration controls, portraying them as essential to protecting American values. Patel countered with thoughtful policies shaped by real-life counter-terrorism experience. The tension grew when immigration policies under Trump came up. Leavitt accused unnamed officials, clearly implying Patel of not being tough enough. Then came the shift. "We need people whose loyalty to this country can never be questioned," she said, glancing at Patel. He responded calmly, "I've risked my life for this country. That's not loyalty." But Leavitt pushed further. Her language sharpened. "Real Americans don't have to prove their patriotism," she said, insinuating that Patel's very need to defend his loyalty exposed his difference. Cooper sensed the danger but hesitated to intervene. Patel, composed but visibly tense, addressed her suggestion head-on. "Are you implying that American citizenship is inherited by bloodline, not earned through service?" Leavitt didn't flinch. "Some people understand America instinctively, others learn it from books." That moment cracked open a national wound, one of ancestral entitlement versus earned belonging. The insult was clear. No matter how much Patel had done for America, he would never be American enough in her eyes. Patel sat quietly for a moment. The weight of the moment settled over the room. Then, with quiet authority, he said, "Miss Leavitt, be very careful about the road you're going down." She pressed on, seemingly unaware she had awoken a storm. "There's a difference between serving America and understanding it," she said, her voice rising. "Some of us are born with that understanding." The air was electric with discomfort. Online, hashtags like #RealAmericans and #immigrant pride started trending. Cooper shifted in his seat, clearly unsure how to contain what was becoming an ideological explosion. But Patel wasn't rattled. He was calculating. Instead of snapping back, Patel's demeanor changed. He smiled, calmly, almost knowingly. "Since you want to talk about who really belongs in America," he said, "let me tell you a story." His tone shifted. It was clear this wasn't improvisation. He had come prepared. "Before tonight, I did my homework," he continued. "I researched your family, Miss Leavitt, and what I found might surprise everyone." Leavitt blanched. This wasn't the reaction she'd expected. She stammered, "I don't know what you think you found." But her earlier confidence was gone. The studio hushed. Patel opened a folder with documents. The mood shifted dramatically. Patel began with his own story. His parents arrived in America in 1970 with nothing. His father worked 3 jobs: taxi driver by day, security guard by night, janitor on weekends. His mother cleaned offices. "They never asked for anything," he said, "only worked to give their child a better future." The studio listened in silence. He recounted how he served as a prosecutor, went undercover to bust drug cartels, and risked his life in classified operations. "So when someone tells me I don't belong, they're insulting every immigrant who sacrificed for this country," he said. But the real twist was yet to come. He turned the focus on Leavitt. "You've built your image around being a real American," he said, "but your family story tells a different tale." He revealed public records showing the Leavitt family immigrated to America in 1892 from Canada. Gasps rippled through the room. "You're a third-generation immigrant," Patel said, "and yet you told me to go back to India?" The audience shifted uncomfortably. Leavitt attempted to dismiss it, but Patel wasn't done. "Your great-grandfather, Thomas Leavitt, was denied entry to the U.S. twice," he added, "because he couldn't support himself." The irony stung. Leavitt's rhetoric had just been turned upside down. Then came the devastating detail. "Thomas Leavitt was finally admitted with the help of a sponsor," Patel said, "an Indian-American textile businessman." Silence fell again. "So when you tell me to go back to India," he continued, "you're literally insulting the people who made your own American story possible." The magnitude of the hypocrisy was undeniable. The audience erupted, some in applause, others in stunned disbelief. Patel stood, his voice rising. "Real Americans aren't defined by bloodlines. They're defined by service, sacrifice, and character." He looked Leavitt in the eye. "Before you question anyone's loyalty again, look in the mirror." Anderson Cooper tried to regain control, but the moment had already burned into political history. Online, the clip of Patel's takedown went viral instantly. "Kash destroys Leavitt" trended globally. Ben Shapiro tweeted, "Perfect political takedown." Van Jones praised Patel despite their differences. Memes flooded social media. One showed Patel with his folder captioned, "Came to a fact fight with talking points." More powerfully, Americans from every background shared their own immigration stories, each echoing Patel's message. The national conversation had shifted in real time, from who belongs to who contributes. It was more than a moment. It was a movement. Leavitt's campaign collapsed overnight. Donors fled. Staff resigned. Her press conference, where she claimed she'd been taken out of context, only made things worse. She insisted she was misunderstood, but no one was buying it. Even Trump's response was lukewarm, calling Patel a true patriot, while sidestepping any praise for Leavitt. The Republican establishment scrambled to align with Patel's values. Even conservative hardliners were forced to reconsider their stance. Leavitt withdrew from her congressional race weeks later, citing family concerns. But the truth was plain. Her career had been ended by one of the most powerful moments in modern political debate. Patel, meanwhile, rose like a rocket. Invitations poured in. Publishers wanted his book. Political consultants whispered about Senate or even presidential runs. More than just a viral sensation, Patel had sparked a new kind of patriotism, one that united instead of divided. His response wasn't just masterful, it was transformational. He didn't win with anger, he won with truth. And in doing so, he changed the narrative for every American whose family started with nothing. Patel reminded a nation that being American isn't about where your ancestors came from. It's about what you're willing to do for your country today.